For the second time in 2 weeks, one of our lineups blew up. This time it was GPP, breaking the 170-point mark on FanDuel. We'll discuss it and get you ready for Week 14 with analysis using both FanDuel and DraftKings pricing, plus an important discussion about the future of this channel. All coming up next. Hello, everyone. This is Eric Lee with the Fantasy Football Consultants. We'll talk about that update on what's going to be going on in the future in this channel at the end of the session, right after we go through a full cash and GPP lineup on FanDuel and give you the DraftKings picks. Reminder, you can look in the description and see timestamped where all the major sections of the show occurs. But first, we have to give it up to viewer Chad Christian, who takes home $50 in our subscriber qualifying contest for Week 13. Way to go, Chad. Excellent job. If you're wondering, hey, how do I get in on this? Those contests are closed, but we're going to have a subscriber appreciation week where we will do contests where people can enter for free and win real money. More on that at the end of the show. But for now, we're going to do it again for those who qualified for Week 14. So I want to remind you guys on an important point. If you're wondering, how can I support the channel? You like what we do. You know everything that we do here is free. Well, one thing that you can do is if you can make a habit on all the videos to smash that like button. I don't like to say that because I think it's annoying on every video to say it. But if you can just make it a habit of doing that, it is greatly appreciated. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you watch our content, please go ahead and hit the red subscriber button. Of course, that's free. All right, let's get into it. Let's show you what happened on our GPP lineup. Okay, you can see our GPP lineup, which scored 172 points out of over almost 1,200 competitors that finished 23rd. It was only a $1 contest, so it almost got 6-1. I'm not going to go through each of the players, but everybody contributed. Special thanks to Darren Waller and David Montgomery, who were the stars given their pricing. 172 points. But here's what I wanted to show you guys. I always think this is interesting. We tied with a bunch of other people. Look at Dustman 11. Does that lineup look familiar? Not only the same guys, but the same order, except with these two Houston guys changed. Al Scott. So I'm just wondering, are either of these two people Fantasy Football Consultants viewers? I think that would be so cool if they were. Again, do I have a problem with you guys using my lineups? No, that's the whole point. That's outstanding. But of course, I want you to do your own analysis and make sure you're comfortable with it. If you think that one of my picks are not good, swap them out. Don't just blindly follow what I do. But all right, let's go through my cash lineup, and I'm going to start with running back. In this era of social distancing, guess what I need? I need a lot of touches. That's right, running backs who give me a lot of touches, and I'm going to start 3 of them in my lineup, and we'll start with Derrick Henry. Man, Derrick Henry truly is an amazing back who gets better and better as the season goes along, as those players start on defense, start to tire. Guess what, folks? But you got to pick your spots with Derrick Henry. You can't start him like last week in a game where game script gets away from him, because they're just going to pull him from the game if they're in obvious passing situations trying to catch up. But no worries this week. He faces the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're more than a touchdown favorite, and the Jaguars are awful against the run. I think this is a huge Derrick Henry game. And on FanDuel, where we have the luxury of more of an emphasis on touchdowns and less of an emphasis on pass receptions. Remember, it's a half PPR on FanDuel. Derrick Henry is a great fit at $9,600. Where do we go from here? I'm not going to go far. I'm going to go in the same game. And I know a lot of people say, Eric, how can you pick running backs in the same game? I don't like to do that for GPP, but I have no problem doing that in cash, especially in a situation where one of the backs, the ones that are expected to come from behind, gets very involved in the passing game. James Robinson is used to playing from behind. They've lost 11 straight, folks. It doesn't hurt his production because he gets involved in the passing game, and they still regularly use him on the ground. He's the only one that pretty much gets carries on this Jacksonville team. And why not do it in a game that has all the opportunities of a shootout? The last time these two teams faced each other, it was 33-30. Jacksonville has given up an average of 29 points a game. Tennessee's given an average of 27 points a game. This is one of the highest over-unders on the slate. So yeah, I have no problem getting Derrick Henry and James Robinson in the same game. And who's the next guy that I want in my quest for touches? Well, I've got to save some money here. I went a little bit expensive with my first two guys. So this guy went off last week, and he's in an equally great matchup this week, and FanDuel only increased his price by $400. David Montgomery. Look, you can get rich in DFS by constantly targeting the Houston Texans, especially with your running back. They're ranked 31st. And as I mentioned last week, I feel like I just need to repeat what I said last week. Ever since Tariq Cohen went down, David Montgomery is the guy on Chicago, getting heavily involved in the passing game and getting plenty of rushing carries. I'm happy to go back. Let's reward him. He was a part of my big GPP lineup. Let's get him back in the lineup. All right. With those three running backs, I think that's a great foundation to our team. We can switch and move over to wide receivers. Where I wanted to get a lot of touches out of my running backs, now I want to get a lot of targets from my wide receivers. Look, if you can figure out a way to sneak Davante Adams, I love Davante Adams every week, folks, but I prioritize those top running backs and Derrick Henry. So look, if you can figure out a way and be happy with it to get Davante Adams in your lineup, I have no problems with that. But I'm going to save some money off Davante Adams and still get plenty of targets. The guy who's gotten, I believe, the third most targets of all wide receivers this year, yet he's at a very reasonable price. Look how far I can have to scroll down before I get to Allen Robinson. Where do I want to go from here? I think I first need to talk about the Carolina game and what is going on with their team. A lot of issues right now with relation to positive tests. Both DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel were near someone who tested positive, so they're going to have consecutive negative tests, both of them. So it's unclear if they will be ready. And if one or both of them are out, wow, does Robbie Anderson look like a compelling pick. On top of that, we thought the homecoming was going to be coming back to the lineup would be Christian McCaffrey, but it looks like Christian McCaffrey has this new thigh injury. That's different from what he has been kept out all these weeks. So look, I really think that Carolina is going to put some offense from somebody, and the last man standing looks to be Robbie Anderson. Look, even if one of those guys play, I'm still super high on Robbie Anderson this week. So at 6,500, he's a bargain. He's a guy. 8.5 targets a game so far this year, even with these guys playing. All right, who's my last wide receiver? At only 5,200, I need to save some money, but I'm fine at 5,200 to get a clear starter, a guy who truly benefits from the ability to unlock his potential. Yeah, I did mean that. To unlock his potential, he needs his starting quarterback, and his starting quarterback is playing. That is Tim Patrick. My little joke aside about unlocking his potential, it's really true. Drew Lock really helps Tim Patrick a lot. You see this game where he did nothing? It was because his quarterback was worth nothing. It was a backup quarterback that was in there. 5,400 is just too cheap for Tim Patrick. So he's in our lineup. And where are we going to go from here? Well, let's go to tight end. And on the theme of trying to get targets, look, would I like to have Travis Kelce? Oh, yeah, I'd love to. Can't afford him. I'm sure there are going to be people going back to Darren Waller hoping for a repeat. But after those two guys, do you know who has the most targets of any tight end this year? It's Evan Ingram. But he's not priced the third most tight end this week, or the fourth, or the fifth, although George Kittle doesn't count, or the sixth. You got to go down the $5,700 to get Evan Ingram playing an Arizona team, who plays a fast tempo, who's only average against the pass. I love, and by the way, you might say, well, those targets just only at the beginning of the year. No. Look, he's gotten at least 8 targets in 5 of the last 6 games. Love the consistency, and I love the price at $5,700. Welcome to the team, Evan Ingram. Okay, so let's turn our attention to quarterback. And at quarterback, we can spend. We have $11,200. We probably don't have enough for the tip top, but I am super excited because I think this guy gives you a solid floor. For $7,700, go to Taysom Hill and give him the news.
I want you to be on my team.
All right, Taysom Hill. So there was a little rumbling earlier this week that maybe Drew Brees will come back for this game. It does not look like he will come back. It looks like he's going to be targeting week 15 for his return. So we'll monitor the news. We want to make sure we don't get any surprises. But it looks like it's another Taysom Hill game. And he faces, I don't know how to sugarcoat this, folks, a really bad Philadelphia Eagle team that's really struggling. They're turning to Jalen Hurts, the rookie, to lead him. I'm actually hoping that the move to Hurts will give them a lift because they have all their key weapons back. Philadelphia does. They have Zach Ertz. They have Alshon Jeffries back. They have Miles Sanders healthy and Dallas Goedert healthy. So why do I care about what Philadelphia does? Is I want Philadelphia to score some points to make New Orleans continue to have to score some points and, of course, pass the ball. But so we like that Taysom Hill realizes, yeah, I can actually throw the ball. And he's got lots of weapons on that New Orleans team, right? He's got Michael Thomas, who's now healthy. He's got Alvin Kamara. But what is really exciting about Taysom Hill is look at the 3 games. Look at the floor he's going to provide you by running the ball. And yeah, he's been running the ball around the goal line, which we really love. But even if he doesn't, you can count on double-digit carries and around 50 yards on the ground, which is all right, everybody. Where are we going to go with defense, given that we only have $3,500? Well, last year we went nuts and paid a bunch of money, $4,900 for the Miami defense, primarily because they were playing Cincinnati. Guess what? We're going to do something similar. Here's a hint. We're going to pick the Dallas Cowboys because they face those same Cincinnati Bengals. Guess what, folks? Philadelphia gives up the most sacks of any team in the NFL. But guess who's second? Yeah, the Cincinnati Bengals. They have a terrible offensive line, and they're going to be led, no offense, if you're a part of the Finley family, probably one of the worst QBs in all of football, Ryan Finley. It looks like Brandon Allen is injured. So they're going to be on their 3rd string QB. And you got to give it to Dallas. They put a little bit of pressure on the quarterback here for a defense that gives up a lot of points. So it's going to be Hill, Henry, Robinson, Anderson, Tim Patrick, Evan Ingram, David Montgomery, and the Dallas Cowboys defense. Let's move on to the GPP lineup. All right, you can see my GPP lineup on the screen, and I always like to start with a stack, and I love attacking games that have a high over-under. Atlanta and the Chargers 50, and the spread isn't very big in difference, only 2.5. So that has all the signs of a shootout. And I've got Matt Ryan going to his two favorite targets, Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. And I'm going to bring that back going the other way with one of Justin Herbert's favorite targets, Hunter Henry. So where do I go from there? I actually have another little small stack, and it's once again attacking Cincinnati. I think Dallas, if they want to be taken seriously to have any hope to claw back to make the playoffs, they have to win this game at Cincinnati. And so I am going to expect Dallas to really put a whooping on them. That is my story that I'm telling with this lineup. So I'm going to pick Ezekiel Elliott, the running back, along with the Dallas Cowboys defense. Elliott, if you had told someone a year ago that you can get Ezekiel Elliott, and by the way, Julio Jones as well, on FanDuel for only $7,600, and they're going to be in favorable matchups, you call them crazy. But yet that's what we're getting. I know Ezekiel Elliott has been a disappointment this week, as is his haircut. A little bit of a disappointment. But he's still the bell cow guy. And if he can just get a game script in his favor, I think they're going to rely on him heavily. And guess what? He's clearly the goal line back. You might say, well, he always is the goal line back, Eric. That's a stupid thing to say. No, when Dak Prescott was the quarterback, there was a significant likelihood that Dak Prescott would sneak it in. Andy Dalton's not doing that. So you can rely on the fact that Ezekiel Elliott will get the goal line carries, which is needed for him to really blow up, which is what this is needed for this GPP lineup. Speaking of blowing up, my own Chris Carson, really like him this week. He's at home. He's got a super high implied total of 30. They're 13.5-point favorites. So game script wise, they should be way ahead. Now, Carson was injured earlier this year. He is back now and at full strength. And when he's at full strength, I can tell you as a Seahawk fan, he's their number one back. He dominated over Carlos Hyde in carries last week. They utilized him in the passing game. Really like Chris Carson this week with a high ceiling. I already talked about Allen Robinson, why I like him. And then finally, as a GPP play, I like J.D. McKissick at only $5,300. Gibson is out. Now, don't get it wrong. That doesn't mean that J.D. McKissick all of a sudden is going to be a bell cow. Peyton Barber is going to get in the game and get some carries. But I expect J.D. McKissick to get more carries than he normally does with the move from Gibson to Peyton Barber. He's not going to get the goal line carries, guys. It's going to be Peyton Barber. But here's the thing. Gibson is actually a very good pass receiver. Peyton Barber is not. So I think to the extent Washington gets behind, and Washington, believe it or not, is a underdog by 3.5 points. To the extent they get behind, J.D. McKissick is just going to be in the game all the time. And we know how much Alex Smith likes dumping passes off to his running back. So that's my GPP lineup. Matt Ryan, Chris Carson, Ezekiel Elliott, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Allen Robinson, Hunter Henry, J.D. McKissick, and the Dallas Cowboys defense. Now, I know there's a bunch of players on here that are listed as questionable. I think they're all going to be okay, but of course, we're going to monitor their situation, make sure they're actually playing. And of course, we'll look for value that may pop up later down the road and make that change. Let's get on to our DraftKings picks. Okay, for week 14, we like to give our favorite DraftKings picks. And let's start at quarterback. look, there's a lot of, you'll see in a moment, of key guys I want to pay up for. So I want to save money at quarterback. I'm not interested in paying up there. So these are three good options for you. Ryan Tannehill, I just love his implied total of 30. Anytime you got Tennessee where you're expecting them to score a lot of points, Tannehill usually performs well in those games, and Jacksonville just can't stop anybody. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. And I think this is going to be a shootout. It was a shootout the last time they played, 33-30. I think it'll be a shootout this week. Matt Ryan actually is my favorite of these three. You can save $1,000 off Ryan Tannehill. So if you need that savings, definitely go Matt Ryan, $5,700. In another game, super high, over, under. I think it's going to be a shootout. It looks like, I hope, that he has all his weapons between Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones and Hayden Hurst, all healthy. Look for a big game from Matt Ryan. And then if you really want to save money, you want to take a flyer, I think a pretty safe pick this week at only $5,100 is Jalen Hurts. He has taken over for Carson Wentz in Philadelphia. I know New Orleans has a good defense, but the way you attack New Orleans is in the air rather than on the ground. And I know that Philadelphia has struggled, but most of that has to do with Carson Wentz. It also has to do with a poor offensive line. But there was a little spark when Jalen Hurts came in. And as I mentioned before, Philadelphia has all of their weapons back. Zach Ertz, Miles Sanders, Dallas Goedert, Alshon Jeffries. So he's got weapons to throw to. I think this is a good opportunity for Jalen Hurts. So if you need the savings, don't hesitate to go there. So taking a look at our running backs list, Aaron Jones is someone I think that you should consider this week. I just love his game script. He faces a Detroit team that you really can attack. Love his implied total of 31.5. I think they'll continue to feed him late in the game. You just have to temper your expectations because Aaron Jones is never going to be the huge bell cow back where he gets like Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook number of carries. But I still think at $7,600, he is worth it. I already talked about why I like Chris Carson with FanDuel, similarly for DraftKings. Big fan of Wayne Gallman of the New York Giants. He's the guy on New York now. He gets predominantly most of the carries. Didn't appreciate that he got vultured at the goal line last week. That doesn't normally happen to him. But he also gets involved in the passing game. So like him this week, Myles Gaskin returned. And I'm surprised that they're not bumping up his salary much. He's still $5,500 to be the bell cow back on Miami against Kansas City. Kansas City is susceptible to the run. And then finally, J.D. McKissick, who I already talked about. But even more so on DraftKings, which is a full PPR, McKissick catches so many passes out of the backfield. Wide receivers, I love Devontae Adams. I'm just going to always recommend him. And it's not just that. Look at the implied total of 31.5. Detroit, I just said, doesn't do good against the run. Well, they also don't do well against the pass. I think if you can possibly afford him, and I think you should make it a priority to do so, Julio Jones, as long as he's healthy, is a great option at only $6,600. Only $6,600. That's just criminal in a game which I think is going to be a shootout. I talked about Robbie Anderson and the fact that he may be the only one last man standing. I think you can start him even if a lot of his compatriots are there. But if they're not, he's a must start. Corey Davis continues to do well and continues to be not given the respect that he deserves based on his price. And they got another game where I think that Tennessee's going to score a lot of points. So there's lots of opportunities for him. Tyler Boyd, this game, it makes me a little nervous. This is the one pick of here that makes me a little nervous. And I got two words why I'm nervous. Ryan Finley, right? But I think it's built into his price, folks. Tyler Boyd's the number one back going against a Dallas defense that, well, pass defense that has sucked big time this year. And they're just teasing us at that $4,900 price. But at $700 cheaper, you might get a guy that's just about in as good a situation. Tim Patrick, I mentioned Drew Lock is back. That helps him out. Tight ends, if you possibly can, I want you to pay up and get Travis Kelce at $7,400. I really like him this week. Well, I like him every week. I mean, he's basically not a tight end. In a season where tight ends have uniformly disappointed, Travis Kelce is just incredible week in, week out with the amount of production that he gets. So $7,400, if you can fit him in, please do. If you can't, we got two low-cost options if you want to go that route. Robert Tonyan of the Green Bay Packers, love his implied total and love the Detroit defense that he's going up against. So at $3,700, pretty good deal, especially how much that Aaron Rodgers looks for him around the goal line. And then Logan Thomas is simply too cheap on DraftKings, $3,200. I think Logan Thomas benefits with Alex Smith as the quarterback of Washington. And because he likes shorter throws, folks. He likes throwing to his running back. He likes throwing to his tight end. Logan Thomas is coming off a career game, 9 for 9 and a touchdown last week. But remember when that happened? That happened after DraftKings pricing. So that game is not built into this $3,200 price. So you might want to take advantage. And those are my DraftKings picks for week 14. I teased it earlier. I want to take a few moments to talk about the current state of this FFC YouTube channel and talk a little bit about the future. First of all, the current state I couldn't be happier with. This is our third season, but remember, we've only filmed for about a year and a half since we take 6 months off in the off season. And to be at over 7,500 subscribers is just absolutely amazing. And to continually get regular views on our content is so great and so gratifying. It's so more than what I or Gary ever could have thought when we started this channel a little more than 3 years ago. So as excited as I am about our growth, the thing that really pumps me up is I think we have already developed one of the best communities on YouTube in the DFS community. You guys are so great in the comment section. You go there, you talk about any late breaking news and how it would affect your lineup, and you're giving your opinions based on our lineup that we put and what you would change or why you like a player. And I'm continually amazed by the intelligence of our audience and well-reasoned opinions. Great job. Now, that's about 10% of our audience that does that. I'm not talking to you 10% anymore. I want to talk to the 90% of people who I think see our YouTube channel like they see a television show. You know, on television, you turn the television on, you watch the show, and then you turn it off and don't think about it again for the next week. That's not what I want our channel to be about. I want to challenge that 90%. I'm sure that's how you do in most of the YouTube shows that you watch, but I want you to engage with us. Yeah, I want you to do the basics. Like I said before, please like the video each time. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe. But more important than that, I want you to go into the YouTube comment section. And here's my challenge. In this video, you will make my day if you write in the comment section, assuming this is true, never commented on a YouTube video before, this is the first time, and tell me why you like our channel, or if there's anything that you can think of that would make it better, or you would like to see us do in the future. Include that into your YouTube comment. I would be so appreciative of that. And trust me, once you start commenting in YouTube, you're gonna wanna keep doing it, especially on this channel, because I wanna bring in a community that engages with each other on each video throughout the week. And people come back to the video, not just to watch it again, but to look at the YouTube comment section and see what other people are posting, including myself. I'll go in there and respond as well. So I wanna I cannot thank our community enough, and I'm going to try though. At the end of the season, we have a tradition here at Fantasy Football Consultants. We have what's called Subscriber Appreciation Week. And we've got a lot of really cool things planned, things that we haven't done before on this channel. I don't want to give them all away, but one thing is we're going to go live before the first playoff game and hopefully be able to interact and even engage with our community more on a real-time basis. But there are other things as well. And we're planning some really cool engagement things next year. And we're going to reveal that during Subscriber Appreciation Week. But between now and then, please, again, put in the comments if you have any suggestions. I'm going to put a link up above me right now to the extent you'd like to watch our Survivor show where I had an interview where I was being interviewed and I gave more in depth of my thoughts of where we are and some of the neat things that we're planning in the future. You can skip to 20 minutes, 20 seconds into that video and go directly to that interview if you're not interested in the Survivor content. All right, folks, really appreciate you guys so much. And I as happy and as excited as I am of what we've done, I truly think the best is yet to come. In this era, in this crazy world where we're all social distance, I'm really excited to create a community that's really close-knit. All right, folks, I want you to stay safe, stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.